Book and a Bev. Hello everyone and welcome back to A Book and a Bev. Welcome back to Fucked Friday. This week we are back with one of the chonkiest books that we have covered so far, which is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. I want to say Armentrout. Armentrout?
Armentrout, like the fish.
And a trout?
I was saying almond.
Almond, like an almond, and then trout, like a trout.
Yep. It is about a girl destined to be this great, purity icon, discovering that things are not what they appear. And, of course, there is some glorious smut. And, hey, who doesn't love a knife kink?
No one.
I'm like, who are they? I don't believe you.
I like knife cake.
In a bit of background just on the situation, From Blood and Ash was originally published in 2020, which I was like, really? That is very recent. And I mean, when you look at the list of books that Jennifer L Armentrout has published, it's like nearly 3 pages long. So this bitch has been busy. She has been very, very busy, and this is the first book in an ongoing series as well. It is such a good read. We all love it and cannot recommend it highly enough. Georgia is eating the book.
Also,
babe,
imagine if it's not pronounced Armentrout and it's like a mantra or something like fancy. Like,
It's so Australian.
What would you?
Almond trout.
Where you can see the syllables and we're going with it.
Armentrout.
Armentrout. We don't make the rules.
We don't make the rules. English language does, bitch.
Yeah. And also, like we said in our little clip last week, this is our second time recording this episode because, unfortunately, I got electrocuted.
He lives to tell the tale.
So, we're going to try and keep this chaotic for you guys. Let's see how it goes re-recording for the first time.
Yay.
What are we all drinking, ladies?
I'm drinking heavy alcohol. I'm drinking
Turpentine.
Just
moonshine. Just goon sacks from the clothesline.
Australian culture, honey. Look it up.
Goon of fortune.
Goon of fortune.
Wearing thongs in the backyard.
In your wife beater.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm drinking CC and Coke. I'm not in a wife beater, not tonight, but maybe next week, we'll see.
Perhaps. I've got red wine tonight, purely because that was what was on special when I went through the bottle-o. So here we are.
Love it.
We've got red wine, and I've also got Canadian Club 2. I'm double parked. Tonight's going to get hectic. I've already had work drinks. Things are looking up.
I am drinking a red wine that I actually like, which is shocking. I am having a sparkling Shiraz. All right. Well, what do we all think of the book?
Well, it's a good book when you start dreaming about it, or a particular person within the book.
Mm.
But for me, the good part that I adored only really occurred in the last 200 pages, probably from the right onwards. Up until then, I was a bit like, can I get into a little bit more depth, a little bit more drama?
Yeah.
I wasn't that invested to begin with. Understood that we were on a journey and we're setting the scene for the end of this book and the next books to come. But yeah, I just found myself getting a little bit over it in the beginning. But all in all, I did really enjoy it, especially certain aspects, aka Hawk/Cass/Dark One. Yeah, he can be my Dark One anytime. Loved Poppy too. She was beautiful. Didn't love the use of the word princess, especially after last episode. That just, no. But again, that man could call me anything and I would come willingly, literally. So...
True.
Look, when you read a book one and it is just the best thing and you're just then you're sad because you're never going to read it again for the first time and it's just glorious. That is this book for me. It is the immaculate peak one energy vibe. I love that even though as the reader you're like, oh yeah, that's a zombie, oh yeah, that's a werewolf, that's a vampire, but because she calls them different things, you're like, but is it though? I loved that whole idea and I just thought that was really well done, really interesting. I did love the plus size representation in this book and thought that Poppy was an absolute badass, and I thought that her evolution, we've complained before about characters that are so set in their ways and it's you're being shown the evidence and they're like, no, Poppy is not that. Her evolution was really natural and was handled really well. I do think that JLA, or whatever the fuck her face is, could probably use a bit of a harsher editor. Feel like you said, Ellie, the last 200 pages are really ooh, shit is happening. It's a big book. There's a lot in it.
It doesn't have to be that big, I don't reckon. The second one especially does not need to be as big as what it is.
No, there's just, and that's the thing, throughout the rest of this series, it's a very consistent theme that you're like, wow, imagine if you'd just gone and crossed out all of this and the story would have been so much more concise. I still love it. And I mean, like you said, Ellie, where do we even start with the love interest? Where do you start?
I don't know.
In my fucking dick and face, that's where you start.
I was
in face.
Put the dick in the face.
Where is the dick going? Is it going in what hole?
I would be open to new opportunities for him.
Well, I loved this book. I did. I loved every moment of it. The whole book, I'm just basically squealing like a little schoolgirl. You know, when you read something for the first time and every 5 seconds something happens, you're like, oh my God. That is me. I just am obsessed with this book. And I loved Poppy and Hawk / Casteel, their love story, hate story, their horn story, because that's what it all relies on. It goes love, hate, horny. But I basically never once found myself not wanting to just plow through this book, even though it is a lot of information. I love it. And when the first time I read it, I was absolutely obsessed with it. It was one of the first fantasy series I read after Sarah J Maas. So I really was in Sarah J Maas heaven. And then I was it has to live up to it. And this first book, it just fucking brought it. It brought it. And I was I love fantasy. I just really loved it. That's it. I just want the entire time. I just am screaming. I just want to be in the book with Casteel, with Poppy. I want to be a part of it.
Hang on. Do you want to be Poppy or do you want to be with Casteel and Poppy?
I really like Poppy, so I think I might just want to be a part of their relationship as a third.
Okay, sure.
I want to be Poppy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Versus...
I just don't think I'd be as cool as what Poppy is.
I would not be at all, but I'd still want to fuck him.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would fuck him still. I would just also fuck Poppy.
I mean, technically, if I was Poppy, I would also be fucking Poppy because I would be wanking so much.
Oh, dear God. Well, with a book as chunky as this, we should probably set the scene for you all. I mean, we're assuming you've already all read it if you're here, but there is a lot of lore that goes into this book. So let's just do a little bit of a recap, shall we? So, Firstly, main character, Penelope Balfour, a.k.a. Poppy. Now, Penelope, spelt a little bit weirdly, may not be pronounced that way. We're just assuming.
Is it Penelope or Penelope?
Penelope.
Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock? Anyways.
Sorry, unsure.
She is an orphan and she was raised by the Queen, and her brother is what they call an ascended. So she's been trained in combat and can kick ass, but no one's meant to know. That's all secret school business. So, the setting. We're in Macedonia in the Kingdom of Solace. Specifically, we are in Castle Tierman, which is manned by the Duke and Duchess Tierman, and he is a cunt.
Yes.
He is a capital C-U-N-T. See you next Tuesday, motherfucker.
He is.
Sorry. Took that and ran with it.
Look, don't apologise. You're not wrong.
No.
Anyway, it's in a medieval setting where every city is surrounded by a wall, which they call the Rise. And the political landscape is that the elite class are trying to minimise a rebellion. So everything has to be managed. And of course, a rebellion is evil and you should never look at what the motivations are.
Population-wise, what we've got is there's two classes. There's the humans and then the Ascended. The whole idea is that the Ascended protect the humans from the Craven and are essentially closer to gods and are basically admired like that. The Craven, which are essentially zombies, just roam the wilds. They're just out there. They have 4 fangs, and if the Craven bite or slash you with their claws, you'll begin to transition into a Craven, hence zombie. And there's Atlantians, which are a mysterious bad guy villain species, and they have 2 fangs, and it's all oh my God. And basically the followers of the Atlanteans are called dissenters, aka linked to the rebellion, and the leader of all of that is known as the Dark One.
AKA Sexy Stabby Pants.
Sexy Stabby Pants.
Oh, I love that name for him.
So then we jump into the culture. Basically, in this realm, every third son and daughter ascend, basically. They leave their family to go live among the elite, which there's no problem with that there, is there?
Yeah, look, I would like to put the word live in italics because that's debatable.
And then there is the chosen, or the maiden, aka our friend Poppy. The maiden is basically meant to be like the MVP of purity culture and the person who's going to bring like all the generation of second sons and daughters through the ascension, really holding it together there. Thank you. She's forced to isolate herself from everyone and no one's allowed to see her face. She's veiled at all times. And again, that sounds awesome.
Delightful.
Again,
Yeah,
I
look,
do have a question. How is she the fate of the ascended when her brother has already ascended, like within the last couple of years? How?
You have very valid and fair questions. I do not have the answer.
Jennifer, we're going to need you to write in.
Jenny
Armentrout.
Miss Armentrout. Miss Armentrout. Please provide us answers. Anyway.
Oh,
wow.
and on that note, we jump in. We're in chapter 1 and we obviously meet our main character, Poppy Danforth. Oh, wait, that's the wrong book. Poppy, aka Penelope Balfour.
Oh, dear.
Poppy?
There's been too many Poppies. Let's be real.
A lot of poppies.
I didn't realise Poppy was such a common name until we've had 3 different books with Poppy in it.
So, Poppy is in disguise at a sexy time pub because she's exploring herself. We discover that Poppy can sense emotions because she's like chosen. How special. So, AKA, she's an empath. Remember the whole like, as an empath vibe? That's her. That's her. She's just running around to people as an empath. I think that you may be in pain. That's Poppy.
They've got like a knife wound.
I see, as an empath, that you may feel some form of discomfort right now. So she's having this whole moment within the pub, and she's dressed as inconspicuously as possible because she cannot be recognised as the maiden, because then she'll be in big trouble. So she's dressed in a pale blue cloak with an edging of white fur, because doesn't that just scream blending in?
It's very incognito.
Everyone else is dressed like relatively normally for like medieval times. They're all just in like darkish dresses. Like, what the fuck just walked in?
A lot of linen.
Yeah, a lot of linen. A lot of beige.
linen.
So much beige.
We then get hints. We get a lot of hints throughout this to the Dark One, as we described, the big bad villain, and the Atlanteans, and we also get mentions of cave cats, which we'll come back to this at a later date. But apparently the Queen has one in her dungeon, and I'm not very happy about the captivity of animals, so I already don't like her.
Basically, Poppy's incognito moment is nearly ruined because her father, trainer, guard figure, Victor, suddenly appears and she's like, eek, gotta go. And she's like running away into the pub to try and hide, and then this random woman says, oh, that room's empty. So she goes in there, but plot twist, it is not empty. It is occupado.
She's a liar.
She is lying. We get the first of so many glorious tension-filled moments in this book. There's an arm like around her waist, and then there's like a really fucking tall, dark stranger holding her, except he is not a stranger. His name is Hawk motherfucking Flynn, and you know what? He probably does fuck mothers.
Yeah, I'd like him
He
to
probably does.
Mother.
And it's like, I volunteer as tribute.
I am here.
I am the mother.
I am a mother that would like to be fucked, yes.
So basically, Hawk is the hot guard. He's new, and he's gorgeous, he's tan, his eyes are like golden, his hair is dark as night, and he's got a motherfucking dimple in his face, because that's what y'all want. Right? It's a shame that he doesn't smile or laugh, though, because he is emotionally damaged.
Just how we like them.
It
Exactly.
is.
If they're not traumatized or don't have some type of trauma going on in their life, then we don't want them.
No.
There's this quote.
Yeah.
Hawk was always in pain, not the physical kind. It was deeper than that, feeling like chips of sharp ice against my skin. It was raw, and it felt never-ending.
Well, that's unfortunate.
That's really unfortunate.
Hawk basically thinks that she is someone else as she's wearing someone else's cloak. So that's a fair assumption. Some
Yes.
people might take the opportunity to go, oh gosh, so sorry, I am not who you are expecting, but not our girl. She doesn't say anything and he takes off his shirt. She still doesn't say anything when he picks her up by her ass cheeks, essentially. And she definitely does not say anything as he lowers her onto the bed and then begins to kiss her. Hawk only stops kissing her, and it's just as like she feels something sharp touch her lip, but we don't talk about that. And because then he's like, wait, these lips are different.
These lips do lie. I was like, these lips do lie.
I love that we were trying to do Shakira dancing with our head. If we do a lot of neck movement, it will come off.
This is where the banter starts between these two characters, and I'm all here for it. So he's like laying on top of her, his legs are like tangled up in hers, and she says, you need to get off. And he responds with, I was planning to. And then he also starts calling her princess because you are quite demanding. I imagine a princess to be demanding. And Hawk is also staying on top of her and she's staying underneath him. And he says, tell me what you enjoy so I can make you love it.
Ooh.
Yeah, he says, Christ, JC, take the wheel. I
JC,
cannot.
actually, you're going to need to leave the room because I'm going to let this man do deplorable things to me.
Brother, you know
JC, close your eyes, go in the corner.
Go in the corner.
Don't look at me.
He's just
Do not make
standing
eye
there
contact.
with his hair down. Like, but if, in all honesty, if someone said, "Tell me what you enjoy, so I can make you love it," I'd be like so flustered. Anyway, clearly he's worked out that she's not the person that he thought she was. Given the last time I kissed the owner of this cloak, she near sucked my tongue down her throat.
Stop that.
It sounds like a lot.
Why are you sucking his tongue down your throat?
I don't
It's
think
not a beverage.
I've ever
It's not
sucked a tongue.
fettuccine.
It's not.
It's not fettuccine.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, he's about to look at her fully in the face, like take off her mask, when he discovers she's got a thigh sheath on. And he's like,
You
oh,
dirty girl.
you've got a knife? I like knives. This will be fun. And like, I just want a thigh sheath to be incorporated into my daily wardrobe, if I could, please. Yeah.
Absolutely. If we ever go to a dress up like party, I am getting one. It might have to be a fake knife because of laws, but I will still.
Because we're not
Put a
America.
vibrator in there.
I'll put a vibrator in there. A smart book in one side and the vibrator in the other.
Yeah.
I'm like the smutty cowboy. I'm like,
Oh my god. When and where is this dress up party happening? So Poppy returns to the castle now and we meet her best friend Tawny. So next sentence, Poppy and Victor attend at a house, just a random house somewhere, and we discover that the citizens have put a white little handkerchief on their door when there's like a cursed aka person about to turn into a zombie. Poppy helps take the pain away again because she is an empath, while she kills the near zombie person before they become a zombie. So zombies.
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 From here on out, Craven to be referred to as zombies. Deal with it.
Zombies. It's Dobby, but zombie.
What? What? No.
I think I might already be drunk.
I think
Oh
so.
my god.
Dobby, but zombies.
Zombie.
But, yes, so it's going to be zombies.
Sounds like gobby.
Don't be sucking on anything there. That's
No,
not.
I
That's
wasn't
not
thinking
good
about
condition.
a craven penis.
Ew! No, I was thinking of the dark one's penis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, dark one peni are a go. Zombie peni are not.
No,
In
not,
case
not
that needed clarification.
case that needed clarification. Zombie penises are a no.
I know they look tempting, but don't.
Ew. Ew.
I know that we look at penises and we're like
Yes.
absolutely gorgeous.
Give it to me.
And not.
This looks like I would want it in my mouth.
Ew.
All right.
Yeah.
Gist of it is we discover that her powers with emotions or to read emotions is unheard of, but the people are starting to view her as a saint.
They're all like, amazing, you're amazing, we know of you, we hear of you, amazing. Now, Victor, just so you're all aware, Victor, I did think we were going to fuck him before.
I kind of wanted to. I kind of still do.
The unfortunate
but
event.
he's dead, so that would be
But
fucking
he's
the zombie.
dead.
So no.
Not the zombie.
Victor is basically warning Poppy at this point about showing her abilities and helping the cursed. It's basically treason. Victor thinks that Poppy does all of this to make up for the fact that she couldn't save her mum and her dad, and because Poppy thinks that she is unworthy of ascension, which just, why? You're a very wonderful person, Poppy. I don't understand. And it is unfortunate about your mum and your dad, but what is the main character without the mum and the dad trauma?
Exactly.
Exactly right. They need
she
to be
cannot
dead.
have parents.
No, they take too much plot time away from the book. We don't have time
Exactly.
to develop your characters, so you best be dead.
We then meet her guard, Rylan. And we love Rylan. He's a gorgeous little golden retriever. He's beautiful. Lovely.
He is.
Oh dear.
He's also dead. That's fine.
Don't get
Why
attached.
not? Why not?
Why not?
Who so far have we met that stays alive at the end of this book? I think there's only
Hawk.
Cass and Tawny so far, so we're half and half. We're 50-50.
Maybe the woman from the pub who showed her to the room. Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. I should not play poker.
Me and Randy like, yes, so unusual. Yes.
She plays a
What
bigger
about
part.
that?
Interesting.
Stop asking questions.
Guys, I read the Googles. I know what
Yeah,
happens.
That's right. You're a fucking psychopath.
Yes.
Fucking psycho.
Remember? I know
For
what
reference,
happens.
Ellie went through and ruined all the future books for herself by reading all the spoilers.
Right. We then meet Lord Mazine.
Oh.
He's giving very much like Chuck Bass pre-Blair Waldorf vibes, like
Ew, yes.
privileged
Biggie.
rich guy. And he enjoys watching Poppy be abused. And he's in the process of assaulting her when a scream interrupts them. Poppy finds the dead body, and it's a young woman with her neck cracked and puncture wounds on her neck.
Basically, the Duke is spinning this story that the murder of this chick with her neck snapped is the work of a dissenter, and it's like, oh, the rebellion. Meh. Poppy and Victor do not agree. And then Rylan is taking Poppy for a walk because apparently she's a dog, and they're having a lovely time in the gardens. Ellie's done. They're having a lovely time outside on her walkies when an arrow flies out of nowhere and into his chest, which is very unfortunate that the golden retriever is dead. So with blood dribbling down his chin, he's like, run! So she runs. A hooded figure then
Sorry, I thought
appears.
you were about to say, bro.
Oh, step bro.
Oh no, not even that. So a hooded figure appears. It's very exciting and attempts to kidnap her, but Poppy is like, oh my god, you just killed my golden retriever and I am now John Wick, and starts beating this motherfucker until the guy starts growling. And I mean, it is not growls of pleasure that drown out the sounds of the dying growling. It is like aggressive dog with rabies growling.
Oh, God.
I forgot about that scene.
You'd have to be growling quite loud.
Can you die quieter?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a blowjob here.
I'm trying to
I'm
get
trying
off.
to growl.
It's really hard to keep my train of thought on my erection when you were just dying so
dying.
quickly.
Okay? Take it somewhere
You're
else.
dying. It's inconvenient to my erection.
So, we get this quote in that moment. This random person, whoever it is, the hooded man who killed the golden retriever, I'm going to enjoy tearing your skin off your weak, fragile bones. I don't care what he has planned for you. I will be there in your blood and feast on your entrails. And she says, that sounds delightful. Which, I'm unsure. But that's fine. Then there's a whistle. And then he runs away. It's the Hunger Games whistle.
Not a single one of us whistled the Hunger Games whistle.
I can't whistle.
I can't whistle.
This is the extent of my whistling.
Heavy breathing.
After this, we meet the Duchess Jacinda Tierman, who seems to... The Duchess believes that the Dark One is coming for Poppy as part of the rebellion, because the arrow that took out the golden retriever carried the Dark One's promise, which is from blood and ash we shall rise, aka the book name. It's very exciting. Poppy is upset by the thought of Victor dying like the golden retriever, and then Victor says, No matter how or when it happens, it will not be your fault, Poppy, and you will not waste one moment on guilt.
So
I'm just going to ignore
not
that.
only is she going to lose her golden retriever, she's also going to lose her Rottweiler. So it's very upsetting.
Oh,
She's
God.
got all the breeds. What do you think Hawk would be? He'd be like...
Look, I think Hawk is closer to a Rottweiler than Victor because Rottweilers look at you like you are the sun and they're obsessed with
true.
you.
Okay, I'm changing what I'm saying. So, Rylan, golden retriever. Victor,
Absolutely.
the Doberman. Protective, but he just
Ooh.
looks scary. Maybe he's not as much, he's just a bit of a big protector.
Softy.
Not as much
Yeah.
as what a Rottweiler is, though. Rottweilers are just like, I look big and scary, I'm big and scary, but really, I love you so much, Mum.
Again with the mummy.
The mum pink is back.
We're into the next moment now. Poppy is contemplating her scars, and we discover that she has gorgeous red hair, green eyes, and scars on one side of her face, and basically all over her body. How intriguing, how beautiful and mysterious. So the Queen has essentially been Poppy's foster mother, and was very close to her actual mother, who's deceased, who has refused. She basically said, like, no, Briony's face, I will not participate in the rite, because she was with Poppy's father. So she had like the potential to ascend, because remember, they can ascend despite the fact Poppy's not born yet. It's not really that big of a deal. But Poppy's dad isn't amongst the contention to ascend. So she was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go be in love and happy. Peace out.
And then she dies.
And then death.
So that's unfortunate. Poppy ends up going to Rylan's funeral, even though she's not supposed to.
Because again, she's meant to be isolated and not bonding with anyone.
But she is bonded with the golden retriever. So Victor has to step forward and like light the pyre. He's like, yes, I was his main friend. I must light his body on fire, send it to the gods. And like basically he can't leave Poppy. Poppy's like the chosen one. She's like the MVP. He's like, what am I going to do here? I'm in a bit of a conundrum. Hawk steps up, our favourite Rottweiler, and he's like, I have her. That's all he says. I have her. And I was like, yes, you do have her, Daddy. Yes, you do.
Victor and Hawk then basically have like this kind of like man-on-man standoff.
The pissing contest.
And Victor's basically saying, do you know that you are standing beside, protecting? And I mean, it is the girl in all white with the veil, so you definitely know. But Hawk is like, I know who I stand beside. And Poppy is like, no, you don't.
She's like, yeah, of course.
We were tongue-tangoing a couple nights ago, but Hawk sees her face that is injured and is like, you were hurt, which is accurate. It wasn't a question but a statement. And he's like, you can be assured that will never happen again. I need that. Fuck me up, fam.
Fuck me up.
The next day, like, Poppy and Victor are training, and Poppy's like wondering if Hawk will replace Rylan, and Victor is being like, keep it out of your pants. Keep the peni out of your pants. Do not touch the peni, Poppy. Insert footnote. Poppy will in fact touch the peni.
Poppy loves the peni.
We find out that the Ascended don't go in the sun, because apparently the gods didn't walk in the sun, and that's suspicious. So Poppy is now in attendance in a great hall. Don't know which specific great hall, but a great hall. Well, the common folk arrive, and they're petitioning the Ascended for a better quality of life, because they are scum. A couple called the Tulisians.
The Tulises.
Tulisines. Anyway, a couple called the Tulises are begging for their child to be spared from the rat, as they have lost all of their other children because they're all dead. I'm sorry. They have lost all of their other children, and it's very sad.
Dead babies.
I wasn't the one. I was not the one. I want that mark.
Yeetus fetus.
You know what?
Oh no. They are denied. Computer says no.
Computer says no.
And everyone gets understandably emotional. Not me, because I'm laughing.
Yeah, remember, people are emotional.
Except for us, would be in the back going, Tulises. Oh, that's a funny word.
July.
Oh dear. So everyone's emotional, except for the Ascended.
The Duchess literally says, cease the tears. You know that this is right and what the gods have requested. Because obviously, telling people to stop crying always works. Thank you, Duchess.
Thank you. It's like when someone tells you not to do something and then you're like, well, now I'm going to
God.
do it.
The fate of the Tullis family is another mark of the unrest that is happening in Solace. Poppy is questioning why things are the way they are, but she has nothing solid to push her over the edge. I read that like a dramatic reading in a school
I was going
play.
to say, I was like, you're going full teacher on us, and I was like, interested in what
I
you were
feel
saying.
like that's how I'm going to read the rest of my notes now.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Look, Poppy is then summoned to meet with the Duke and the Duchess, and Hawke is there. Hawke is going to replace Ryland, and it's all very exciting. The Duke is going to unveil Poppy so that she is not surprised by her face and forgets to protect her, because that makes complete sense. You would see someone's face and be like, I cannot save your life.
You are too scarred. Sorry.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, your face is too fucked. It's just too fucked.
Sorry, your face. It's too
Too
much.
much. The Duke obviously enjoys unveiling Poppy because he believes that she's like super sensitive about her scarred face. But truthfully, Poppy is just like, please, for the love of God, I hope Hawke does not recognise me from that time we made out. And the Duke is like, lol, don't you think her face is fucked? The quote being, half of her face is a masterpiece and the other half a nightmare. And then Hawke just comes out with this fucking words of wisdom, which is both halves are as beautiful as the whole. And I know a beautiful whole he can get acquainted with.
Oh, God.
I know many.
Oh, God. Fuck it up, fam, at this point.
Fuck.
He is all in, and I am all in for him too. Like, we're all in for him at this point.
All in.
Hawke then swears himself to Poppy, except he doesn't use the normal way to swear yourself as a guard to the maiden. No. Instead of vowing to keep the maiden safe, he uses her name. And are you ready? With my sword and with my life, I vow to keep you safe, Penelope. He spoke, voice deep and smooth, reminding me of rich, decadent chocolate. From this moment until the last moment, I am yours.
That was quite lovely.
Look, the standards are low, but I'm taking them. He used her name and I'm like, take my soul.
I'm literally crawling along the ground.
Let's have another drink, shall we? Okay. Poppy is trying to just have a chillax with some ladies in wait. She's not meant to really be talking to these bitches, but they've just rocked up anyway because they are simping over Hawke. And can you blame them? No, you cannot. Their names, Lauren and Defina. Now, they start talking about a journal, the diary of Miss Willa Collins. Essentially, a smut journal. Essentially, dear Miss Georgia Davis, her book.
Yes. Surprise. This is my cameo role.
So Hawke and Tawny are having a little bit of a chat, and Hawke discovers that people Poppy knows call her that instead of Penelope. That was a very big sentence to try and get out when you've had a few too many wines. There's this little moment where he's like, oh, you go by Poppy. Okay, I shall call you Poppy forevermore. And then he's like, oh no, wait, alas, the Duke, aka Cunty Face, has summoned you. You must leave.
AKA Cunty McFuckface. See you next Tuesday. Motherfucker. Fuckface.
So as Hawke is walking Poppy, we get some sizzling tension. And the quote is, Hawke caught my arm as I walked past him, stopping me. He lowered his head until his lips were mere inches from my veil-covered ear and whispered, perhaps I was mistaken, and it wasn't you. And you're like, oh my God, does he remember her? Does he not? We don't know. It's all very exciting.
Until Poppy enters the Duke's suite, and Cunt and Lord Mazine, Cunt too, are waiting for her. We find out that the Cunt is a sadist. He is now Duke Cunt. I made no apologies. Poppy is forced to stand in front of the desk. She's forced to unbutton her dress and then is beaten with a cane. Lord Mazine sits at an angle where he can see her shirtless from the front while she is being beaten. And the quote is, skin burning. I bite down on my lip until I tasted blood. I stared through the haze of tears at the painting of the veiled worshippers, wondering how horrible the Atlantians must have been for men like the Duke of Macedonia and the Lord Mazine to receive the blessing of the ascension from gods.
She's not wrong.
Look, she's not wrong, but are we also not remotely surprised at privileged white men in positions of power?
You cannot touch my body, sir.
Oh, okay. Victoria's waiting for her when they have finished beating her.
We said it so Victor's waiting for her when they finished beating her. And
He's like, what time do you call this?
Basically is. Like, he doesn't do anything to prevent it. He just rocks up like, oh, you done now? Okay, cool.
And then he looks at her and he's all sad because she's been beaten, but he doesn't do anything to stop it.
no. So Poppy is in her room recovering when there is an attack on the rise. Dun, dun, dun! The mist arrives, and with it are twisted shapes that were once mortal. Guess what they are?
Zombies.
They are
Zombies.
the zombies. Mm-hmm.
It's like if Dobby became a zombie and he's
Zombies. Oh no. Can you imagine a cameo from Dobby the elf as a zombie?
Dobby is not a free elf. Dobby is dead.
Dobby's a craven.
Dobby is decomposing.
Dobby is a zombie. So Poppy leaves the safety of her room to go and defend the rise. And she basically has her eyes on Victor when the craven just crash into the guards, and she's the best. But basically from that point she aids the guards, helps them fight off all the bits and bobs.
The bits and bobs. She's just holding off an army of zombies with a bow and arrow being like, Katniss, fuck you. And you're like, bits and bobs.
Bits and bobs. She's doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that,
A little
whatever.
bit of that.
Then the craven are climbing over the rise, and Poppy still beats them off.
We laughed at this last time.
Poppy beats him off.
She's like, a happy zombie won't invade. Look, just when the battle is ceasing, a voice sounds from behind her shoulder. It's hot stuff, Hawk. And Poppy's like, oh gosh, time to go. But Poppy tries to move away and Hawk blocks her. And then we get this glorious moment where Hawk catches her by the arm as she goes to run away, and she twists under him and kicks out his legs. And then Hawk throws a dagger to pin her cloak to the wall as she's running away. And then she throws the dagger back at him and he catches it. And then she tries to kick him, but he catches her leg and looks at her exposed thigh and is like, scandalous. I love it. And then he's got his body against her body. They are body to body, and he's pinning her to the wall, and Poppy puts a knife to his throat, and it's her bloodstone knife specifically, which was what was in her thigh sheath earlier in the book, and that turns out to be his kink. The quote is, "You're an absolutely stunning, murderous little creature. Nice weapon. Bloodstone and wolven bone. Very interesting, princess."
God, I screamed like a fucking schoolgirl during this part.
Hawk has Poppy pinned to a wall, and I wish I was her. And we get this quote of, "But if you let go of the dagger, there's a whole lot more of me I'll let your hands get close to."
Oh, dear fuck.
Hawk does, in fact, remember her. Hawk says, "I came back for you that night." And insert footnote, he could have come on my back any night and I would have been happy.
Mm-hmm. So he says to her, back in the inn, no, sexy time pup, when they're back there, sit here a minute, I'll be right back. If that were me, I'd be like, right, laying here, ready, waiting. Have not left, still here.
Right, it's the fucking Titanic though. It's been 83 years.
Look, we leave that moment and Hawk is like, "Look, you can go back to your chambers and we'll have this discussion later." And she's like, yeah, whatever. So we flash forward and it's 5 minutes. Poppy has literally just sat down in bed, put her jammies on, and she's ready to go to bed. And Hawk's just like, knock, knock, knock. "Grandmummy, it's me, Anastasia." Will Briony ever go...
Will Briony ever go, "Not grandmummy, it's me, Anastasia"?
The answer is no.
No, she shall not.
I shan't.
So, Hawk and Poppy are bickering at this moment, and it's amazing. We are all tawny, though, in this moment, because she's, in the middle of the two of them, oh shit, oh God, oh Jesus. So, basically, we're beginning to figure out 3 things. 1, Hawk is absolutely fucking into Poppy. Number 2 is Hawk wants to fuck Poppy. And 3 is Hawk has some very strange kinks, which we're here to accept, you know from last episode, we're open. We'll listen. We'll read it. He also just like adores Poppy putting him in his place. So I just am so obsessed with this because that is literally the energy that you want. Settle for nothing less than a man being happy and thanking you.
Telling him to fuck himself.
Love that. Basically, the chapter ends on this quote. I ask only one thing of you. The next time you go out, wear better shoes and thicker clothing. Those slippers are likely to be the death of you, and that dress, the death of me. Oh my God.
Yes, I can't.
Amazing.
But I can.
It's now the next day. Poppy is training with Victor, and we have this beautiful moment where he says, you know, I'll never replace your father, nor would I ever try to, but you're like a daughter to me. And it was at that very moment that I knew he was going to die.
That is a surefire way to indicate that someone is going to die.
Yes. So in the background throughout all of this, Hawk is asking Poppy questions and commenting on things that were normal to her, but now she's starting to question things. Like she saw the Tulises and was like, that didn't sit right with me. Poppy then confides in the Duchess about how her ability to sense emotions, aka being an empath, is manifesting, and she's basically told not to use her powers. So the Duchess tells her a story about the first maiden and how the Dark One seduced and murdered her. And it's like, well, that's reassuring. Thanks for the pep talk. I'll be on my way.
Thank you so much for just reaffirming to me that all the pressure is on me and that I need to be careful because some crazy man who drinks the blood of innocence is going to come and murder me and seduce me at the same time. Thank you.
If Hawk was there to murder and seduce me simultaneously, I'd be like, okay.
You mean I could have a good fuck and not pay off my hex set?
Sign me up. So after that, she's in a terrible history lesson and basically gets told off for shuddering at the mention of Atlantians drinking blood. The priestess is basically, she's whipping it back, she's winding it up, she's about to collapse. So yeah, she's winding it the fuck up. She's ready to slap that bitch.
She's ready to smack that bitch up.
And then Hawk
Catches her
hand mid-air and threatens the priestess for touching Poppy. Once they leave this, Poppy almost admits to the abuse that has been going on behind closed doors, but she doesn't, of course. She basically talks about leaving and she starts to open up to him just a little bit, and she basically says that she couldn't or wouldn't run away, and Hawk says, it seems to me that this honour that has been bestowed upon you comes with very few benefits. And he's not wrong.
Where's the lie?
Then they're talking about the upcoming rite, which literally just sounds like a giant orgy. So good. Thank you. Hawk then admits that he has a brother, and Poppy is so moved by the loss that he's feeling because, again, empath, that she gives him a happy thought. She's standing there like this. It's just...
She's doing a Charles Xavier.
Like, she's like staring the fuck down. And he is really affected by this happy memory because, you know, all the grief, all the loss. But we then find out, he's like, thanks for that, but he's not dead, actually, even though his emotions definitely really made it seem that way. So another great sign. His brother's not dead, so just a lot of trauma.
But he's still depressed.
Just a lot of trauma. We're unsure.
Less than 24 hours later, Poppy is climbing out of a window to steal a book about porn, as you do. Poppy has the diary of Miss Georgia Davis. So she's broken into the library to steal this diary so she can read about cunnilingus and all things penile. And she's basically hanging off a window ledge because as she's trying to steal said porn, the Duke arrives into the same room that she's in. And she's like, well, I have one option and one option only. That is to cling to the ledge like a gecko. And that she does. So she waits him out and then she goes to leave once he's gone, like an hour and a half later. But then Hawk is there. And Hawk is very distressed about her chilling on the window ledge like a gecko and eventually lures her back inside. But then he snatches the porn book from her and reads out a passage about said cunnilingus. And she gets very flustered. And he's like, oh, maiden, this isn't very maidenly of you. And then Poppy says to him, but how did you find me? And he says, I have incredible tracking skills.
He does.
And
We're just not going to think about them yet.
No.
Flash forward, and it is the rite, aka orgy time. And Poppy is out of the white veil, and she is in red, because apparently this is one of the few times she can look like a normal human.
Which, like, okay. So weird.
I love that for her.
Monochrome
Everyone's
red,
in red. So much
Right.
red.
One big period.
Blood.
I mean, actually, that does make sense if you're about to kill all those children. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Fuck.
Because in the background of the rite, while all the party goers are getting ready for their orgy in red, and they're talking about once you've ascended, it's like really like intense. But there's all these donated children. Oh, God.
Oh, the babies are about
Yes.
to be. Oh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They're
well,
about to
Fetuses
be.
are about to be yeeted to.
yeah. Look, I didn't say yeetus fetus. I want that on the record. Anyways, so Poppy is all fancy schmancy. She looks great. Her hair's done. She's in a red dress. And, like, Tawny gives her a bold red lippy to set it off. And that just seems like a lot of red, but here we are. The Duke isn't there. And that seems a bit sus. But we ignore that because then Hawk appears and they have that intense eye staring thing where his touch is like a physical weight. And I'm, like, very here for that. Poppy sends Tawny on her way and says, go enjoy the orgy. Don't worry about me. Hawk goes to take Poppy back to her room when he's like, you know what? What if we have a little change of plans? Hawk is like, let's go walk in the garden because you haven't been out there since the golden retriever died and you really did like the foliage.
Oh, dear
So-
God. The foliage.
The quote is, I'll be with you and not just watching over you. Insert footnote, but can you be in me?
Oh,
So then Poppy takes Hawk's hand, they're hand holding, and it's very naughty apparently. And she says that he's such a bad influence, and Hawk responds with, only the bad can be influenced, princess.
Stop talking dirty to me, Daddy.
As I said, they are holding of the hands and they are walking through the garden. They are enjoying the foliage and the tension is building. Hawk is like, what if we go to this willow for some privacy? Because I've heard it's very good for the privacy. And so then they go into the privacy and they go into the willow and it's pitch black, but somehow Hawk can see and we don't think, we're like, oh, nothing to see here. Get it? Because it's pitch black and she
And there's
can't
nothing
see.
to see. So Hawk sits down, and not only does he sit down, but he goes, I have a seat for you too. Let me put you on my lap. So Poppy is basically saying that he has all of these inappropriate intentions with her. But then we get this moment. Hawk says, what if I said that isn't true? Poppy says, I wouldn't believe you. Hawk says, then what if I said it didn't start off that way, but there was the moonlight and you with your hair down in this dress, and then the idea occurred to me that this would be the perfect location to do some wildly inappropriate behaviour.
I'm
well,
not
you would
okay.
Not be wrong.
Poppy is like, but I am the maiden and this is scandalous. And Hawk is like, I don't care what you are. I care about who you are. And then Poppy says, but it doesn't matter what I want. And Hawk responds with, and you do want. What you want is me.
Oh my God.
I yes, Hawk, I do want you.
Yes. The chapter ends with, Hawk, kiss me, please. Everything freezes. Time stops. And then Hawk says, Gods, you don't have to ask me twice, princess, and you never have to beg. And then it's on. They're making out. Hawk moves Poppy so she's straddling him. It's a whole fucking scene. So they pull themselves together by literally pulling themselves apart, not pulling each other off, but close to it.
Not also pulling themselves into pieces like decapitation.
Oh no. So Hawk begins after that wonderful moment. Hawk begins walking Poppy back to her room when the Doberman spots the Rottweiler. Oh dear. And obviously you can tell that they are post makeout. The lips are red. There's a little glistening sweat on the forehead. Her hair's all shamozzled.
Hair is. And let's remember, she did have that bold red lippy, so that shit is going to be, they're going to be looking like
That
clowns.
shit's everywhere. And we
Yes,
end
you
up
did
having
too.
another pissing contest.
Poppy and Victor argue, and Poppy breaks down, saying that she can never experience anything. She can't do anything that everyone else can do, and she just has nothing as the maiden. And it's the first time she's really admitted any of that out loud to someone, and it's a big deal. But before they can sort of discuss that any further, there's a big crack and people start screaming and running out of the hall because Poppy is literally the opposite human from me. She runs towards the loud, scary noise, and she sees Duke Cuntyface impaled with the words, "From blood and ash we shall rise," written on the wall in his blood. Poppy's internal monologue here is truly touching. She says, "I didn't think it was funny. Not at all. I didn't like the man. Frankly, I hated him with every fibre of my being. But Atlantian had gotten into Castle Tierman yet again, and that was frightening. Because of that, this wasn't funny. But it also wasn't sad."
Look,
It was funny.
all I hear when I read that quote is, it's not funny, is it? It's serious.
Pretty much, but can't. So,
So it was
moving
funny.
on. It was.
Death to the patriarchy, so
Fuck 'em up.
absolutely.
Yes, exactly right. The castle is then invaded by dissenters, and Poppy, Tawny, and Victor are stuck with Lord Mazine and the Duchess. And the Duchess makes them barricade themselves in a room with no other exits because she thinks that is a fantastic idea. And she is incorrect in all choices and decisions. Because of her shitty, terrible decision making, they immediately get found by the dissenters who try to ram their way in through the door. And Poppy basically has no choice but to reveal that she knows how to fight, because now she has to not only defend herself, but also the three fuckwits that don't know how to hold weapons. Not Tawny, I will remove her from 3. 2 fuckwits and a friend. Victor and Poppy going toe to toe with the dissenters. They're going at it, not together. Viciously weapons, not sexually. Needed to
Look,
clarify.
I feel like this is a beautiful follow-on because sometimes you're like, when you're the sober one trying to do the podcast, you're like 2 fuckwits and a friend. But now me and Georgia are arguably the 2 fuckwits right now, and Ellie is the friend trying to keep this shit together.
I peaked early and I'm coming back down, but you guys are just going up higher. So they have beaten all of the dissenters, not beaten them off like before. They've just beaten them. But this beautiful moment where Victor turns around to Poppy and says, "I'm proud of you. You defended yourself," turns into tragedy because the dissenter's like, "That's funny." Stab, stab, stab. Stabbies him in the chest to death. And
She's lost 2 of her dogs.
yeah, she does.
Lost her
But-
golden retriever and her Doberman.
and both of her dads. Ooh.
Oh, fuck.
It is at this moment when we're all devastated. You're like, oh no, not the Doberman. And the world is crumbling around Poppy. She's like, she's in such this whirlwind of loss. And then Lord Mazine goes, "Why don't I fuck it up?" Mazine says, "I do believe our maiden has also crossed a certain line with her royal guards. I don't think her lessons were at all effective. Probably don't say that to a murderous woman who just lost her father figure and is being comforted by her inappropriate love interest."
Please, it's probably not smart to do that to someone who's just lost their Doberman. It's probably not smart to do that.
So Poppy gets up and she goes, "This is a nice sword. What if I cut your arm off with it, and then your hand, and then your other hand, and then I behead you?" And then she just keeps hacking away at his corpse until she's knocked unconscious.
She's literally knocked out, dead.
Yeah, they're like, "No, can't deal with that. Unconsciousness for you."
Exactly.
I'm assuming no one saw that.
What was it?
I just spilled wine all down my
no.
chin. I have red wine all down here. So you're going to have a great time when you're editing that, because I just went... and I just went... So Poppy's a bit sad because her next dad just died. She's got 2 dead dads and a dead dog, and things aren't looking
No,
good
she's
for
got
her.
multiple dead dogs.
No, she's got 2 dead dads, one that's a dad dog.
Yeah, so it's technically 2 dads, 2 dogs, because he's a half dog and half dad, so he makes...
Is he top half dad, bottom half dog? No, because we wanted him
Yeah,
to
he has to
fuck
be bottom
us.
half.
So
he'd
he'd have to be
top
bottom half.
dog. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, no matter what way we slice it, it's bestiality. Briony's ejected herself from the chat.
I couldn't cope with that. That was too much. Oh my god.
Okay, Dad is dead. She is hell-bent on vengeance, and Hawk has had to remove the weapons from her room and bar the exits because she's just not thinking clearly. But Hawk is the person who can, like, bring her back down to earth.
Look, so Poppy is summoned to speak with the Duchess, and basically because of all the shit that's happening, the King and Queen have summoned Poppy to the capital. But she's not going to be punished for killing Lord Mazine, which she was really stressed about. And that's because the Duchess knew what kind of a sick cunt he was. But she tells Poppy not to ask anything else of her. And the quote is, "Some truths do nothing but destroy and decay what they do not obliterate. Truths do not always set one free. Only a fool who has spent their entire life being fed lies believes that."
Wow, is that a fucking dig?
She's like, I'm standing here right in front of you telling you what a dumb shit you are, and you are not listening. Basically, from there, Tawny isn't coming on the trip to Calcedonia, and Hawk tells Poppy not to even bother packing her veil because she will not need it. Poppy doesn't know how to ride a horse because, of course, she doesn't. Why would she? And so she will have to ride in the saddle with Hawk, meaning her booty will be causing friction along his groin area for long travel with buoyancy, and it's just going to be a whole type of situation.
It's the buoyancy for me.
Nice.
In this next moment, Poppy meets her travelling companions, and among them is Kieran, who was the knock on the door at the Red Pearl when her, like, Poppy and Hawk initially got interrupted, where Ellie is still laying starfish on the bed waiting for Cass.
Ellie's still there.
Cat.
I'm waiting for his return.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Kieran, who is also, please fuck me, you blue-eyed gorgeous man.
We are talking about a gorgeous man
like
of colour.
Bright
With
blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
Could die.
And dry sass.
Oh, I love him. And he answers all your questions. Bless him. So as they're travelling, we discover that Hawk actually decided to bring some reading material on the journey. He brought the diary of Miss Georgia Davis. Thank you for the representation.
So they're travelling along into the depths of the unknown, and they have to travel through the Blood Forest, which sounds appealing. And it's basically just a forest made of, like, red foliage instead of green. But bones also litter the forest floor, and it's cold. So they think, yes, let's stop right here and camp. And I don't know if anyone knows me, but no, I shall not camp. But it's very cold, which is a good thing because it means, how do we warm up, ladies?
Body heat.
Body heat. Body heat. So he essentially gets in her swag with her, which, if you're not from Australia, a swag is a fancy sleeping bag for camping.
Yeah.
So he hops on in there with her, and he is like, hey, I can get you to sleep. Do you want to see how?
Just the sound of friction. So, as they're settling down for the night, Hawk comes out with, Duke Tierman was a cunt, and I'm glad he's dead. Which, same. And Hawk is adamant that Poppy won't be able to sleep because she has all that tension. You know what I mean. He starts rubbing her stomach, and then slowly with each rub, he's just making his way lower and lower and lower, and then he starts twiddling with her pickle.
He starts poking her fun box.
Licking the bean.
Punch her butt.
Show me the car.
Brush the poodle.
Ew. The quote is, I would get inside you, Poppy. I would taste you. I bet you're as sweet as honeydew. Now, for reference, for those who have not eaten honeydew, and for Briony who does not fruit, honeydew is a melon that has very little flavour. So, thanks, I guess.
It's the green one.
It's like the one that's just melon.
Yeah.
Like, if I just had, like, if someone just said to me melon, I'd be like, that's just a melon. You know, it's not like watermelon.
He could have at least been like
Rockmelon has, yes, I love rockmelon.
So, is he literally saying her coochie is flavourless?
He must be saying
Yes.
that coochie is pretty average, actually.
pretty average, actually, and it's green.
So, yeah, that's what I think. Honeydew is flavourless, so he's really being a bit of a fucking not very nice about her coochie.
The quote is, but we won't do that tonight. We can't. Because if I get any part of me in you, every part of me would be in you. And I want to hear every sound you make when that happens.
Well,
When that happens.
Because it will.
So basically, he gives her a big orgasm from some over-the-pants rubbing while they pretend to sleep, and the guards are none the wiser. There is one guard who is definitely aware of what's happening.
The blue-eyed, what is he? Husky, blue-eyed husky. Oh, he's a wolf. He's a wolf. He's a wolf.
They try.
Husky.
Husky still works, but there is no penetration at this stage. Just to clarify, only over the pants fondling.
Why's my thumb doing
After
this?
After the over the pants fondling and George's weird fucking thumb that's doing something, Poppy wakes up and she overhears Hawk and Kieran talking. It makes her a bit sus, but she ignores that because she's just had an orgasm for the first
As
time.
I would too. I'm very distracted by an orgasm. Want to distract me? Orgasm.
Hawk then takes the opportunity to thank Poppy for allowing him to give her an orgasm. Just to clarify, he thanks Poppy for
fucking welcome. So when they're on their journey, we end up finding out a lot of information, and one of those bits of information is we learn about barats. Basically, what a barat is a giant fucking rodent that can run as fast as a dog and are as big as a boar. So you can just take that and put that in all of your fucking nightmares. Good. And then, dun dun dun, a barat runs past just as they're conveniently talking about them. What a coinky dink. But then, wait, what is it running from? What is going on? Neck minute, it's a craven. And they all get attacked. But no need to fear, because Poppy is a ninja. And Poppy can hold him off. She's fighting him with a lightsaber. That's the wrong series, but that's okay. Hawk finds Poppy killing the craven very arousing. So he is like watching her from like the side eye, because he's still obviously trying to also kill them. And he's like, damn shit, she is fucking sexy. Hawk then chucks Poppy a sword. And Poppy beats their ass with it.
She smacks that bitch up.
She does, but unfortunately, one of the guards, he is mortally wounded from protecting Poppy. So Poppy has to come comfort him as he dies, because remember, she's an empath. So she uses her powers in front of everyone to help his death be painless, because she's an empath. And now everyone knows that she's an empath. And it's
empathic.
It's empathic. If you were an empath, you'd understand. But as an empath, I can tell you that
as an empath,
it took a lot of strength.
As an empath.
They reach a place called New Haven, somewhere that we haven't been told of before, and they meet two new people called Delano and Elijah. But Hawk does something strange, and like there's this random woman there, and he somehow knows her name, and they hadn't been introduced before. So Poppy's like, this is weird. And also, I haven't seen any like ascended people walking around, and also there are no royal crests. But okay, that's fine. I'll just ignore that. Poppy decides to, go upstairs. She has a room to herself and a bath, and she's like, okay, this is sweet. And then Hawk appears, and they discuss her as an empath, and they talk about emotions and feelings and such. And she discovers, because she is an empath, that Hawk is deeply sad.
Which we already knew this.
But yes,
yeah, look, no,
we could have skipped this bit and gone straight to the fucking, but that's okay.
Here we are. Hawk says, you deserve so much more than what awaits you. And that makes all of my titties go high alert. All of them. Absolutely all of them.
Wow, it's like the tiny clitoris.
all nipples, just erect.
All the follicles.
So, Poppy also does not realise this sentence for the red flag that it is, but that's fine.
She's like, okay.
Poppy essentially realises that Hawk isn't the complete undoing of her as the maiden, because she's already sort of made decisions leading up to this point where she's turning away from that anyway. Like, she's gone to the Red Pearl, she's talking to people when she's not meant to be talking to people, she's learnt how to fight, all these different things. She's starting to question everything that's been going on. So she sort of realises to herself, you know what? If I fuck him, it's not the end of the world. I think I'm still going to fuck him. And the quote is more eloquently put than that. Hawk wasn't the catalyst. He was the reward.
It's like a reward.
Like a reward.
But to leave that point, we just jump right into this next bit, which is Hawk is going to leave, but Poppy is like, please don't leave, stay with me. And Hawk is stressed. He doesn't know what's going on. He said, there is no way I could be in that bed with you and not be all over you in 10 seconds flat. We wouldn't even make it to that bed before that happened. I know my limitations. I know that I'm not a good enough man to remember my duty and yours, or that I'm so incredibly unworthy of you it should be a sin. Even knowing that, there is no way I wouldn't strip that robe from you and do exactly what I told you I'd do when we were in that forest. And Poppy's like, actually, sir, you can't tell me what the fuck I feel and what the fuck I don't feel. And this is what I want. And it just escalates from there. They get naked. They make out. He goes down on her and says that she tastes like honeydew. Which, again, is this a good thing? Or is it just plain basic Jill? We don't know. It was Jill.
Look, he asks her to touch him so that she can see the effect that she has on him. And we get my favourite quote. Poppy asks, how does he want her to touch him? And his response is, any way you want, princess. You can't do it wrong.
Power of the pussy.
It's very power of the pussy.
Mm-hmm.
So they are about to do it. And by it, I mean exactly what Ellie's been waiting for all this time, laying on that bed.
Lying on that bed, starfish wedding. It's been 83 days.
Oh, dear.
It's been a long time since we've had that
That's
pain.
it. So he asks Poppy if she's ready, and she says yes. And the quote is good, because I might have actually died if you weren't. And we fucking love that. I love that.
So,
Imagine if she was like, no.
actually,
no.
I'm not. I'm just going to go have that bath now.
So, as Hawk and Poppy begin to have penetrative vaginal sex, they get this heartbreakingly sweet moment where obviously that initial coitus hurts, and he's so very sorry that it hurts, and that's lovely. But alarmingly, once they finish having sex and are basking in the post-coitus glow, Hawk says, promise me you won't forget this, Poppy, that no matter what happens tomorrow, the next day, next week, you won't forget this. Forget that this was real. She does forget this.
She does. In fact, she does.
In fact, forget.
So, post-fuck, Hawk disappears and Poppy is following in the steps of so many of the other book characters and is considering throwing her entire life away because penis. Which, I mean, good dick.
It's a 50-50 there.
Journey to be a maiden, Hawk's penis.
Horse penis.
I know what path
Hawk's
I'm
penis
taking.
wins every time.
But one of the guards, his name is Phillips, like Philip with an S. He knocks on the door.
Plural. Phillips is
Plural. Phillips
There's
with
many.
plural.
There's many Phillips there. It's Philippi. Poppy lets him in. And he's acting super strange because he's got a strange name. Warning bells start going off in her head, and Phillips believes it's a trap and that Hawk and Kieran bad guys. Phillips is letting Poppy out. When Kieran appears, he's like, oh, hey. And then there's a scuffle. A scuffle ensues. Phillips cuts Kieran with a sword, and then Kieran starts to growl. And remember the type of growling that we're talking about? It's like a dog going grrr. That's how I would growl.
Grr. A single grr.
Grr. That's what he does. He just looks at them and goes, But very much like the guy who killed the golden retriever. Remember that when he started growling? It was weird.
what a coincidence.
Because Kieran is related to Jacob. He is a werewolf.
Just to clarify here, we're Team Edward, right?
We are Team Edward.
10%. Okay, they run. Phillips, Poppy, and two other human guards who we immediately forget are barricaded in the stables when the motherfucker who killed the golden retriever appears. But then Hawk also appears, and this is when things take like a hard turn. Hawk uses a crossbow to take out Phillips, and then Kieran and Delano take out the other guards. And Hawk then uses the name of the guy who killed the golden retriever, who's called Jericho. And that is when Poppy realises that Phillips was right.
Uh-oh. So you run from there, and there's this whole action sequence. So Poppy grabs knife, throws knife, creates distraction, tries to kill Jericho, but is tackled to the ground. Poppy can't kill Hawk, but he gets turned on by violence. Poppy and Hawk, they're brawling on the floor, but it's really just like Poppy beating the shit out of Hawk because Hawk doesn't want, he's like just trying to mitigate the damage. He's like, okay, stop it. And Kieran, Jeleynai, and Elijah are all just watching this, and they're just like, this is good shit,
Yeah, they're like, this is primetime entertainment.
Let's fucking go. So, after this, Hawk stops her from absolutely beating the shit out of him. In that motion, he reveals his two little chompers. And Hawk is an Atlantian. That knowledge basically takes the fight out of her. And while the villagers chant at Hawk to kill her, Hawk says that no one is to touch her but him. I was saying by him.
Bah humbug.
Look, it's pretty brutal that you've just lost your virginity to someone you thought you loved, and turns out that the person that you thought was going to kill you, and then as you realise that, villagers are chanting that you should die.
It's very unfortunate.
That's a lot. That is
a lot. Not great, really.
No, I would crumble under that pressure.
Yeah, look.
But I would also be waiting for another good fucking, so.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Hawk then admits to killing the Duke, but he says before he died, Hawk got some information from him, including what he had done to Poppy. Hawk knows everything now, and because of this, he used the very cane that he would beep.
Beep!
Okay.
Oh,
He used the cane that the Duke used to beat Poppy with to impale him. And I really, really like that moment.
I do too.
But then we find out that Hawk can sniff wounds and blood.
That's a bit unfortunate.
It's kind of gross, really. She could never have a period again without...
He's like, oh my God, I know when you're sucking this, babe. I got you.
I know.
He's like, oh my God. Standing
like,
next to us. Oh my God, you guys are all synced. That's so interesting.
He's like, is it day 3, babe? Anywho, he can smell her. So he's like, oh, are you bleeding? And she's like, oh yeah, shit. I was actually slashed in the stomach with a knife and oh fuck, my innards. So he's like, all right, sit tight, let me get some betadine and put that on your shit.
Not literally on your shit, because that would be a little bit weird.
Bit useless, really.
Yeah, the shit doesn't really need
No.
Look, so while Hawk is cleaning the stomach injury, he tells Poppy about the true history, which is that the Ascended, aka vampires, well, they're vampire.
I
don't know, it's vampire, aka vampires. That's what they are. And the Ascended are using the children who are put forward for Ascension or during the rite are basically cattle and the food source.
Yes, but
That's
of course,
problem.
Poppy's not really believing Hawk in this situation because he has been lying to her this entire time. But the one thing that Poppy is definitely missing is that everyone is referring to the Dark One / the Prince and Hawk in the same equation. She isn't putting 2 and 2 together, though, despite the looks and language people are using. Everyone, please turn your textbooks and open to chapter 36, Exhibit A. You belong to me, he said. She says, don't you mean I belong to the Dark One? I meant what I said, princess. Thank you, everyone. Close your textbooks and continue reading on where we've left off.
I was still trying to find my page.
Too late, hurry up.
I'm sorry, miss.
Hawk then tells Poppy that the reason he knows so much about the Ascended and their process is because he was their blood bag, essentially, for 5 decades. And now they have their true heir to the Atlantians, and Hawk wanted to use Poppy to free him. So he was just using that vagine to get what he needed, which was his bro.
Bro.
Fucked up. As Hawk leaves the room, he says, Not everything was a lie, Poppy. Not everything.
We go to the next chapter, and Poppy is mentally shuffling through everything that Hawke has told her, which is a fucking lot. She's also shuffling through everything she's grown up knowing and how she understands the world, and she's definitely believing some of what he said, but not all of it. And it's at this moment when Jeleynai and an Atlantian called Niall appear, and they're taking her out of the cell, and they're being very nice while they do it, because at this time she's being kept in a cell because she's stabby pants. But then these people appear, and no, it's not One Direction. It's Jericho and 6 others. Get it? I made that joke because he's called Niall.
I laughed too loud then, I'm sorry. No. Oh.
I thought there was just I should do that. I thought I should.
Really
so I did. Look, one of the people that's here to murder Poppy is there's Jericho, and then there's Mr. Tulip.
One of the tulip.
And they're healed. The one of the tulips is there. He's not very happy. No one is. So then basically we get this fight sequence where Jeleynai and Niall are defending Poppy, and they actually give her a sword to be able to defend herself with as well. But Poppy takes serious damage and is basically fading into oblivion to the sound of people cheering on her death, which is, again, it's very unfortunate. That needs therapy right there. Just as she's fading away, Kieran is there, and then all fades to black as he's saying we need to get her to the prince.
Oh, so Kieran carries Poppy to Hawke, and she's fighting to stay conscious, with Hawke begging her to please stay, which is like, oh, cute. Hawke then feeds Poppy his blood to keep her alive. Maybe still cute, not sure.
Unsure.
Unsure. He uses, I don't think I'd need to be forced into it. So he has to use compulsion on her to get her to drink his blood, whereas I think I'd just be like,
I'm dying anyway, fuck
Sure.
it up.
Yeah. I think I taste like honeydew. Like, what are you going to taste like? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out. The blood is good. The blood is great. So good, in fact, that Hawke literally has to force Poppy to let him go because she's just like sucking that blood from his veins. Oh. Dear God. Poppy is healed. It's miraculous. JC would be shivering in the corner if he had turned back around here.
He's still facing the wall.
And this basically is the proof that Hawke wasn't lying about all of the history.
Which isn't that fantastic?
Also, side note to this, it turns out that drinking blood actually makes you very horny. And Poppy is very much under the influence of Hawke's tangy blood.
Why is it tangy?
Kind of tastes like red wine.
You keep going. I'm going to see if she gives it a taste.
And Hawke is being incredibly decent and is not engaging in the debauchery. He is very good boy. What is it? Oh, yes.
I drank, and my skin began to hum. I drank, clasping his bloodied arm and holding him to me before even realising what I was doing. The taste of his blood, it was pure sin, decadent and lush. With each swallow, the aches and pains lessened. That's literally the only
So it is red wine.
I wouldn't say tangy, but red wine.
Yeah, whenever I hear tangy, I just think of Latin champions.
Fair.
So the quote is, in a few minutes, when this storm passes, you'll return to loathing my very existence, and for good reason. You're going to hate that you begged me to kiss you, to do more, but even without my blood in you, I know you've never stopped wanting me. But when I'm deep inside you again, and I will be, you won't be able to blame the influence of blood or anything else.
God, when I will be. And also, when you said in a few minutes, the first thing my brain said was, in a minute, I'm a need, a sentimental man or woman.
Oh dear. But then Poppy remembers that when Kieran was telling Hawke not to feed her his blood because it's forbidden or whatever the fuck, he used a different name. Guess what name he used?
Brian.
Can you imagine if Casteel's real name was Brian?
Steven.
No, it's my dad's name. No.
Oh, Mark. That's my dad's name.
Dennis.
That's my dad's If it was Dennis, it would be so funny. Oh, I just can't picture Casteel as a Dennis.
I was going to say Ian, but her brother is Ian, so that just gets weird again.
We don't want any more incest. So,
I've had enough incest for a life.
So no, he calls Hawke, not Brian, none of those names. It was Casteel, Hawke, is a lie. He is really the Dark One, the Prince of Atlantia, Casteel Dania. Happy days.
I want him to fuck me so
Right?
badly.
Like, that's it.
I'm
This-
still on that bed.
Starfish.
Starfish.
Yeah.
Waiting.
But Poppy doesn't take this news as well as what Briony, Ellie, and myself have. No. She is in love and had sex with a person she believes to be targeting her life.
That's unfortunate.
Look, even if he was targeting my life at this point, I'd be like, let's not go out having fun.
Yeah, look. She does not know. She does not do that. She is like, in this moment, you know what? I fucking hate you. Gets the bloodstone dagger, which it is thought to have killed Atlanteans, plunges it into Casteel's heart.
And
Yeets him.
look, that's how the chapter ends.
Yeetus.
She's yeeting
Yeetus
him.
old fetus.
It's a very old fetus.
Right. Oh my god. Poppy is basically crying her little heart out because she's yeeted the old fetus. And even though she feels deeply betrayed by Casteel, she loves him. Everything in her life is turned upside down and she's really just having a hard time. And she basically just killed the love of her life. Or did she? She runs outside and it's snowing and she's running through the snow sobbing. In the back of her mind, she also knows that she is not prepared for the climate, but she has no option. She needs to escape. So she's running and she's doing the snotty tears and she's running off into the forest and then an arm encircles her waist. And plot twist, it's Casteel. He's not dead. The quote here is, Casteel says, "It's me, Anastasia."
I thought you were going to be like, and the quote is,
It's me, Anastasia.
Anyways, the actual quote, not just what I say every episode, is an Atlantean, unlike a Wolven or an Ascended, can't be killed by a stab to the heart. If you wanted to kill me, you should have aimed for the head, princess, but worse yet, you forgot. And Poppy's like, forgot what? And Hawk just says, forgot that it was real. And then he struck, and it's bang, bang time.
Bang, bang time. Let's fucking go.
I am here for it.
So, Casteel is shocked by the taste of her blood and keeps saying that he can't believe it and that he should have known. But before she can question him, his mouth is on hers. And the quote is, I wasn't just kissed, I was devoured, which is worrying.
Look, this is also after the bit where he's drinking blood from her neck, and as he's pulling the blood from her neck, it's pulling on other parts of her body in a very sexy, not a traumatic way.
It's pulling on that fanny flutter string. Hell yeah. So he then rips her shirt off and he sees all the dry blood from the people who tried to fucking cut her insides out. And we finally get the end of the who did you this to you trope, which is, I will kill them. I will fucking kill them all. I'm deceased.
Jesus.
I'm fucking deceased. So they end up fucking in the snow for about 4 pages. It's good. It's fun. I was 100% devoted to these two and their sexual intercourse. He is obviously the dominant with his fangs and his tight gripping of the thighs. And she's like, actually, buckle in, my friend. I'm going to take you for a ride. And indeed she does. Flips him onto his back and then just plunges herself onto that Atlantean magic stick. And they're both just absolutely high. We're unsure of what the high is from, the blood or the hypothermia. We're not sure. But it's mind-blowing sex.
Atlantean magic stick.
Atlantean magic
yes,
stick.
enjoy that one.
Obsessed.
But
Post-rock, Poppy is understandably confused. She's like, your penis is amazing, but you're evil and you're meant to kill me. But your penis is amazing, but you're evil. She's very confused.
it's very
I would
confusing.
be too, but penis wins. He seems to genuinely care for her, but he can't. She doesn't know. She's so confused. Casteel says he thinks he knows why things are the way they are between them, but then doesn't say any more. And it's like, cool.
Thanks for
for
that
sharing.
information, actually. It's really great.
Casteel offers her his hand, and Poppy's like, well, sure, I just tried to kill you. I'm not sure why you're trying to be nice to me now. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I'll get over it. And I was like, oh, okay. Hawk just says to her, change of plans. We're going to Atlantia. See ya.
Grandmummy, we're coming home.
I love that I've now got you guys thinking about that quote, so that's fantastic.
In our brains all the time.
So Kieran, our lovely friend Kieran, blue-eyed, beautiful man, he is guarding Poppy, and we get the beginning of their friendship, aka questions. That is their friendship. That's it. Questions and answers.
And maybe polyamory. Poppy now believes Casteel about the political landscape, but she can't trust what he says when it comes to them. Neither can she get over the death caused by Casteel's actions, including but not limited to Rylan, aka Golden Retriever, Victor, aka Doberman, and Lauren and Defina.
No.
Remember them? But no, because they're the gossiping ladies in wait who literally said 2 words to Poppy for this entire fucking book. And then they were killed at the right thing when the Duke died. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you literally just had sex with a man as close to godlike as possible. And you want to ignore that. And the fact that he's likely in love with you because 2 random women you knew, not even as acquaintances, died. Like, I understand Rylan and Victor, like, sure, grief, whatever. But Lauren and Defina? I'm sorry. Stop mentioning them. They had no significance on your life. Just go fuck the man with the nice penis.
The Atlantian magic stick.
Please go fuck that Atlantian magic stick.
I want
on
to
behalf
take
of all
a
of
bite of
us.
your disco stick.
Basically, Poppy is taking a pity bath, and Kieran comes in while she's in the bath and drops this nugget, which is, he would be annoyed to find me in here, and then he'd be intrigued. And I'm just going to say it right fucking now. Grouping this with comments that Casteel has made throughout the rest of the book while he was Hawk, I'm going to say it. By pride. Cass is by. I'm claiming him. Fuck you all.
I love that, but also the drop in the nugget. I just think of poo. So Kieran is basically like, bitch, Casteel is your simp. What he says is, because he wants you, even though he knows better, even though he knows it will end in yet another tragedy. Which is awesome. This woman hasn't had enough trauma in her life. Just make sure that the star-crossed lover is truly star-crossed. Cannot be together. Love that. So Poppy naps and wakes up to Casteel looking at her. And he's like, come on, darling, it's time for dinner. And we can discuss our future over the main course. And Poppy's like, absolutely not. I object to being fed. Casteel is like, bitch, I'm just looking after your well-being. You need to eat your dinner. Go eat your greens. But deep down we know, please still fight me because it makes me horny and that's my kink.
Yeah.
Isn't it just? So, Casteel is walking to dinner with Poppy's hand in his, and it's like, darling, do you enjoy my new artwork? Turns out, said new artwork is the impaled people who just tried to kill her, and they're just kind of just hung there in pieces on the walls. The only one still breathing is Jericho. Barely. Poppy's in a little bit of shock, as you would be, seeing that. And Cass suggests that she doesn't approve of his choices to impale them. Poppy ends up saying that she's shocked but doesn't feel bad about their deaths, as they deserved it, which, I mean, yeah, they did, like, fucking stab you, so I agree with that. But she's a nice person, and remember, she is an empath. So she believes in dignity in death and believes that they deserve that even after the torment they inflicted on her.
Can't relate. I'd be like, fuck it up, fam. So,
Exactly.
they're at dinner. And Casteel is like, now for my big dramatic unveiling. Point 1 on the itinerary is, I shall be taking Poppy home to Atlantia, as it is partly her home because she is part Atlantian.
When? Why did
So
this occur?
apparently
How?
he knows this from drinking her blood, and that also explains how she survived so much, as well as her gifts, apparently. Cass then suggests that Poppy was going to be the blood source for the next generation of ascended peoples. But our drama queen, Cass, is not done. Point 3 on the itinerary is marriage. Entree was that she's part Atlantean. Main course is that they will be travelling to Atlantia to get married. And that is where the book ends.
Dun, dun.
I fucking do. I do.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I've got veil and everything. You just can't see it right now. It's invisible. But I'm ready.
I do 1,000 times.
I'm prepared.
Ready and waiting. I'm still on the bed. Stuck.
Yes. Look.
JC's in the corner.
What an immaculate book one. Like, I know sometimes you're like, oh my God, you girls, you waffle so much shit. And that is also true. But
Correct.
it's a phenomenal book. It is fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Even though there's things you might change, it's still fantastic. Absolutely glorious. And Casteel is just top tier book
Casteel
boyfriend.
literally could destroy my pelvic floor.
I'd be happy
Oh,
about it.
wow.
I'd be happy about it.
I mean, my children already did that, but I'm willing to go for round 3.
Fuck up.
So, music reference for this book I found on Spotify, Arsonists Lullaby by Hosier. And I kind of get the vibe this is just describing Poppy growing up and realising everything that she's been told is a lie and coming to discover that for herself. So, lyrics are, when I was a child, I heard voices. Some would sing, some would scream. You would find you have few choices. I learned the voices died with me. When I was a child, I'd sit for hours staring into an oak flame. Something in it had a power, could barely tear my eyes away. All you have is your fire and the place you need to reach. Don't ever tame your demon, but always keep them on a leash. And I just really liked that for her. I feel like she always sort of needed to restrain herself and her thoughts and opinions and how she wanted to act in situations. And she realised that
She doesn't. No. I like that.
Jumping straight into fan art, just to kick us off, because unsurprisingly, I went a little bit hard. Dominique Wesson, the absolute goddess that she is, has a couple close-ups of like Hawk and Poppy. Poppy's in the white, and then them on the horse. Then we've got Mftfernandez, which is Poppy and the Maid in White. We've got Rs28, who did a special edition of From Blood and Ash, and there's like Poppy, Hawk, and Kieran with some gold detailing. We've also got Jeleynai_C, who has some gorgeous, good plus-size representation of Poppy. And then we've got Bxromance, who is quickly becoming a favourite. She's got Poppy in the veil, Poppy and Hawk at the right, and then Casteel drinking from Poppy. We've also got Poppy in the white with her thigh sheath out, and Hawk in his guard uniform. We've got a couple of those, so we just thank you for your service. And then, of course, we've got Madschofield, which has Poppy in the veil and Hawk holding her chin.
Love that.
It's just a
Yes,
vibe.
definitely. I have a couple too. Nataliebernardart, which she does some great drawings. One is of like the one that I really like is of Casteel. I really love that.
It's a
so
gorgeous
pretty.
one.
And then we also have the clever.crow, which is Poppy and Kieran in his wolf form, and Poppy with like her dagger. She's got like the scars on her thighs are out, but it's like that is exactly how I see Poppy. The way that she drew her is exactly how I saw Poppy. It's just that's it for me. And then there's another one as well, which is called sage.end.other.herbs, and basically she did like a really lifelike drawing of Poppy really close up, and it's just really pretty. I just loved it. So yes.
Well, I've got one for you this week. Normally don't, but here I go. My favourite, it is by, I think it's Jeleynai, Jeleynai, and it is a image of Casteel. And when I say this is how I pictured that man, this is how I pictured that man.
100%.
It is that I will fight anyone. It is the best Casteel fan art. You've probably seen it. It's like the sun is hitting his eyes and he's just oozing charm.
I can't. It's so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but that is it.
Well, that's it, guys. And like, look, our next episode will be on Credence by Penelope
Sorry.
Douglas. And
Fuck.
because this is a re-recording, we have already pulled the book that we're doing from the fishbowl.
Yes.
The book we are covering next is Shadows and Crowns, aka first book in the Song of the March series by S.M. Gather? I don't know.
Something like that.
So we will be covering that next episode after Credence.
Yes.
Woo!
All right. Well, we have been recording for a very long time, so we will end it here.
We have.
Thank you very much for listening or watching, whichever you are doing at the moment. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, do all the rate 5 stars, do all those things with all the social medias. Again,
All of
we
the
will
things.
be doing a giveaway. We keep mentioning this. It is happening. And it
is.
So that is it. Have a great night, afternoon, morning, day, whatever the hell. And we'll see you next week.